Good evening, folks. This is Aaron DeBruin, Vinyl Freak 89 here with your first call forecast for tomorrow and December 12th, the major interior northeast ice storm. We're going to go ahead and start out by looking at the forecast today, a little bit of a reverse of what we did last night. And so I have shifted things a little bit to the, just a little bit actually, to the south and east. Not too much though. If anything, I've sort of included that little bit of a backlash area for snowfall as the GFS and the NAM both hint at the fact that there could be some pretty good backlash snows occurring on the back end of the system, which is something that's rather unusual, but considering how much the modeling is showing it and the fact that it's not the usual, couple of flurries, it may be something to bank on this time to give us an inch or two or so in the areas that are mostly going to get rain with the system. So let's go ahead and highlight over what this map here means. I'm going to go into it a little bit more detail than I did yesterday. Basically, this area down here is all rain. You're not going to see any snow. In this area, between the light green line and the dark green line, is where you're going to see mostly rain, except at the very end, late Friday night and Saturday. Late Thursday night and Friday is when you're going to start to see that change over to snow. And the total accumulations could be anywhere between an inch or two, but that's going to be mostly on the grassy surfaces, especially in these lower sections here. It's going to be pretty hard to get those surface temperatures down to freezing, and so not quite exactly the ideal situation here. Between the green and the pink line here is where you're going to see your most mixed precipitation. A mix of rain and ice mostly, but changing over to ice fairly quickly. I'd say about midday Thursday, and you could be dealing with as much as a half inch of ice, but anywhere from a quarter to a half inch, and less toward the southern part of the line, as would be expected. In between the pink and the red line is where you're going to see your inch plus of ice. This is where the severe ice storm is going to occur, anywhere from western West Virginia through central Pennsylvania, southern tier of New York, up through most of Massachusetts, Vermont, and southern Vermont and New Hampshire as well. And the northern part of that area, where the red and the lighter blue intersect, in this area and here, is where I expect there also to be 1 to 3 inches of snow, as well as along this entire area that's been outlined by the lighter blue. And heavier areas, 3 to 6 inches, coinciding with the ice line, the heavier ice line, and 6 inches plus between northwestern Pennsylvania up through central New York and into central Vermont and New Hampshire. So quite a sizable storm. Definitely the biggest story with it is going to be ice. I wouldn't be surprised if some of those areas, especially in northern New England, pick up upwards of a foot in some of those heavier snow bands, but some areas could see up to 2, maybe 2.5 inches of ice with this system, which is absolutely incredible. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's bringing this thing together and what could go wrong with that forecast, as well as some of the reasons why things are the way they are, at least as of right now. So we're starting out here. We're going to look at the ruck, and we're going to progress through 9 hours or so of it. This is tonight's ruck as of 11 p.m. And notice we still have the positively tilted trough. Let's draw our trough axis in here. It starts up here, goes down, and curves back around like this through the center of the low. Still have the positively tilted trough here, although it's getting closer and closer to a neutral tilt. Now, here's a couple of key pieces of information for this particular setup. See how we have this vorticity tail sitting in here, this string of positive vorticity advection connected with our front runner up in here. Here's the energy for the clipper that's coming around the back and really going to make it very difficult to get the low-level cold air in there. The faster that this first PVA tail in here disconnects, the more likely we are to see a colder solution than what I outlined. And as you can see, once we step through things here, the ruck believes that the trough is going to go neutral around 7Z this morning. As you can see, it's pretty neutral. If we can push this just another 50 to 100 miles or so this way, we could be talking about a very different solution. Now, given the fact that this is only, let's see, 7Z, that would be 2 a.m. this morning or so. Given the fact that this is only now 2 hours away, the chances of it are pretty darn slim that the model's made this much of an error. But you know, there's always room for an improvement for these little errors. And while I don't think that you know, if we could get the trough to go neutral in here instead of where it's going neutral in here, that would be a major snowstorm for the I-95 corridor. So basically, if it goes neutral anywhere in between those areas, we're going to have to start to shift the snow and ice further south and east. And looking at thermal profiles up and down the East Coast, the dew points are dropping closer and closer to zero. The surface temperatures have actually gone up a little, or the actual temperature has gone up a little bit, but the dew points are dropping closer and closer to zero. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But again, watch exactly where that trough goes neutral. That's going to be very key as to where this thing ends up. I personally think that the trough is going to go neutral a little bit later than the model's forecast, maybe an hour or so. And that is why I've made my forecast as such, even though the models might be slightly west of where I have it right now. But as we continue to step through this, you can see that as this trough goes neutral, it starts to be absorbed. Here comes the clipper down. Here comes the energy becoming absorbed. Here you can see the new PVA tail starting to get established and the beginnings of the phasing occurring. And clearly, with this setup, that is a negatively tilted trough. I didn't even draw that line right down the straight axis of the trough, but that is truly a negatively tilted trough, and that's way too early for what we want to see. Remember, for a big East Coast snowstorm, you want to see the trough go negative tilt somewhere in this latitude in here, not before that at all. It just doesn't bode well for us. But let's go ahead and take a look at the 850s, because this is one aspect of the storm that really is just, it bothers me. What's going on with them. That 850 low, we love to see a good, nice, strong 850 low to get, you know, and you want your 850 low to be south of you to drag in the cooler air. Well, okay, here's the 850 low starting to get established in here. But watch, we're going to get over to 2Z, and okay, so we have, as the trough is going neutral, whoops, my bad there, as the trough is going neutral, we see the 850 low getting established down here. With a clear positive tilt. Ooh, that was a bad graph. Clear positive tilt in here at 850. But watch what happens as we start to step through time. Here's the other 850 low coming along with the clipper. But watch what we start to see. This one moves up to the north. Goes okay. Notice how this is starting to get strung out. This is moving away and out. So what this is doing is it's allowing some of this energy to get pulled up into an inverted trough, and it's just stringing this low out. So what happens is really we get the 850 low. When you look at the GFS, it sort of jumps from being in here to being in here, and so you can never get those 850s to crash down because your source of cold air is blocked by this stupid thing sitting up here. What can change? Again, if that trough goes, a lot depends on the 500s. If that trough goes positive tilt a little, negative tilt a little later, and we're only talking about a difference of 6 hours, then we can start to disconnect the clipper system a little bit more. We're not going to be pulling energy as much. There's not going to be as much of a connection. Unfortunately, with the rock, I can't show you the 850 vorticities, but you can see it a little bit better in there. There's not going to be as much of a connection at 850, and the 850, the zero line at 850 will be able to crash further south. Other than that, this is, if anything, it's a freezing rain or a snow profile. I don't see a lot of sleet with this. There's not a mid-level warm layer or anything like that. It's a question of, do those 850s crash in time? If you're +1 or +2 at 850 and 31 at the surface, you're going to get freezing rain. If you're 0 at 850, more than likely you're going to get snow. And that's just the way that this is working out. This is a very vertical thermal profile with this system. So we need to keep an eye on it and see what happens. I'll possibly be here for a quick update in the morning, probably not video, because that takes way too long to produce. And for now, that's it. So this has been Aaron DeBruin, Vinyl Freak 89. We'll see how things work out.